I wanted to tell a story about this right here because I really think that it's true. I discovered a crystal on top of the earth in Vermont, which I believe is something which is called neutronium. Neutronium was an element that was described in history back in the 1960s, and no one's ever seen it before. They had a television show, which was Star Trek, where they mentioned a material called neutronium. What this has to do with is a hard material which appears to be harder than diamond. So I'm thinking that this is the material because they described something in history by some famous scientists who described neutronium as crushed iron nuclei, which creates a material which is harder than diamond. It's protons and electrons combined under intense heat and pressure. You have the same material inside the Earth, probably in the core, because the Earth is made out of star material. And then you have the Sun, which has a golden color to it, but it's also gases. Well, gases can be solidified, and under the intense heat and pressure from the Sun, I believe that you can also have the same material in the Sun, crushed iron nuclei. So, atomically crushed, but producing no radiation that's detectable. And so I'm thinking the age of this is probably huge anyway. They talked about the Big Bang, but they also talked about the implosion of stars that could possibly produce this during a supernova. So I wanted you to see how hard this is, and it looks like quartz. And what caught my eye when I saw it on the ground was the fact that it had a reflective surface on it, which you can actually see. And you can see that the iron coloring runs all through the material. But I believe that all diamonds are metals, and I don't believe the theory of carbon. I did think before that carbon was where all the diamonds on the earth came from, but I actually believe that diamonds are manufactured from pure metals within the stars, because you have rainbow colors that are associated with dust particles in the atmosphere. When the drops of rain accumulate around the dust particle and then the sunlight hits it, you end up with a rainbow. It reflects. And I believe that that is stardust in the atmosphere that seeds the clouds. And what we have here is a material which really is really interesting because it looks like milky quartz. But when you look at this and see how reflective it is and what it does, I had to check it by myself because I thought it was unusual, and I said, I want to check the hardness of this thing. So I had something in my possession which I bought to check something before, and it's called a diamond sharpener. And the diamond sharpener is a universal diamond sharpener. You can actually see it on the left right here in this cardboard container that it came in. And here it is on the side. Same identical Same identical tool. And so it has diamonds embedded in it, which are multiple layers of diamonds, which it talks about right here. Multiple layers used for sharpening. Make sharpening quick and easy while still giving you that razor sharp edge on your knives, tools, or hooks. So I wanted to show you how hard it is. So what you do is you take this diamond sharpener, which is when you use a testing tool for diamonds, they have diamonds embedded in a metal rod, which you can test, but you can't even buy them anywhere in the stores. You have to probably order these things online. So here's what I found out. I ran this thing over the surface of this, and you can see that this is rubbing off on the crystal because it's very dark. And what you can see is that it leaves no scratch on this crystal, which means that it has a hardness higher than a diamond. This is a massive crystal, which crystals can be massive and they have a rounded form. What I believe is that this crystal, because it was a neutral color, I was thinking maybe because really hard carbonado diamonds are black in color. Those are the hardest diamonds that they talk about. And what this is something completely different. I believe that it has a lighter color because it's made of a neutral material, which would be the neutrons. You have protons, neutrons, and electrons, and they talked about neutronium, which was crushed iron nuclei. So what I think I did was make a world discovery. When you look at this crystal, it's just unbelievable. I believe that Mount Mansfield in Vermont was a caldera volcano that created Lake Champlain because the core collapsed in on itself at the top of the mountain. And you have a Lake Champlain basin, which is a marine basin, which is over 100 miles long. And it's possible, one or the other, but I do believe that the earth was hit with celestial objects that created the mountains in the state of Vermont, because at one time Vermont was in the center of the world in a continent that they called Pangaea. So I believe that it was not what they talk about when they say carbon meteorites. I believe what we're talking about here is something that comes from the sun and the stars that hits the earth every once in a while and penetrates the plates of the earth. Super energized materials that come from the stars. So when you look at this, I have a quartz crystal near this, and I ran a hardness check with my diamond sharpener, and you can see a horizontal line running across the face of this because it leaves a line on the quartz. It cuts quartz, but it doesn't touch this material. Basically, that's all I have to say. I think I've made a world discovery, and it's not a quartz crystal, and it's harder than a diamond. How much of this material is on the earth? Where does it all come from, and where does it all go?